Good evening, everybody. It's time for 48 Weather Extra, 9:30. Let me straighten my tie a little bit. Hey, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Got my clicker. I'm ready to go.
Ready
Fort
to
Payne's in the house tonight again. Good evening there, Adam. Add a few more cues here. Flintville, Tennessee coming in. I did see the strawberry moon last night. It was nice. It's actually pretty amazing out there, especially with the it says no sounds. My mic is on. No sounds probably because we weren't starting much of anything. Still says no sounds. Okay. Let me make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can hear myself here. Anyway, hope everyone else can hear me. We got thunderstorms coming back in the forecast tomorrow. Probably had a lot of color to the moonrise again this evening. Mentone checking in tonight as well. Meridianville. What we're going to be tracking are isolated thunderstorms. They're going to develop with the heating of the day. We're going to have probably a handful tomorrow, and then we'll double that, maybe 10 as we get into Friday. And Friday evening, waiting for the model guidance. In fact, we may see it for the first time here for Friday evening. So we're going to take a look at that. Thank you for your comments. I'm going to turn those off, at least the ones that you see. And we'll get into this forecast. Pretty quiet night out there. Still warm, though. Still 80 degrees. Some of the inner cities, when you get sunshine and it heats up all that brick and the asphalt, it really maintains the heat. We call it the urban heat island. Patio forecast from earlier this evening. I think it's a little bit off. Temperatures are just a touch warmer. Oh, good. Adam can hear me. Just a little touch warmer out there. Here's your weekend. I wouldn't let this scare you from your outdoor plans, but keep in mind, I think tomorrow and Friday we're looking at like 30-minute to 45-minute delays. We could be looking at an hour and a half to 2.5 hour delays Saturday and Sunday, depending on how this plays out. Typically, you get the storms that develop with the peak heating. Once we reach about 85 to 88, the storms fire up, and then they will collapse. And it's in that collapsing stage they put down this rain-cooled boundary. It spreads out, these outflow boundaries. It's kind of like leapfrog, so some of you may not get any rain at all, while others may get a heavy downpour. So I've seen some posts on social media. They talk about, you'll see an image of a rain shaft, and then on one side, it's completely dry. So the one side, the caption says, well, they totally missed it again. They said 30% chance of rain, and then the other one says, well, they totally missed it again. They said 30% chance of rain, and it's pouring right on top of them. So that's kind of the season we are in. As far as tomorrow goes, I'm going to go about my daily business. I got some concrete I'm going to pour, so I'm not going to worry about it. Of course, I'll check the radar before, the weather app before I pour any concrete. Just little bitty pieces of concrete. It's nothing compared to what I've had to pour lately. Going to put in basically the footing for the air conditioning units that I'm putting in my garage. So I'm going to go about that. Friday, I'd be a little bit more cautious with those kind of outdoor projects, and as you get into Saturday and Sunday, definitely. So let's look at the guidance here. 7 o'clock in the morning, nothing's changed here. I think this may be the new model run. We'll find out here in a second and see what it looks like compared to the other one. Yes, this is the new model run, so this is new data. You're seeing this as I'm seeing it. It shows a little bit more activity than what it did earlier. But again, when you go from a pattern change where it's been dry and you're going to get wet, typically it may take 24 hours for that to totally be realized by the model guidance. I think we're going to see isolated heavy downpours tomorrow, lightning, and some gusty winds, especially if you get these downbursts with these storms. There's not a lot of upper level support. This looks quite a bit wetter than the last model run. So again, we'll just have to watch and see how it all turns out. But just because you see these storms on here, what you're looking at, not exactly the location, you're looking at where the separation is between the showers and thunderstorms. Again, no organized severe weather expected. This is still showing up. The last model guidance had this, the last run had this near the state line, and then it weakened it as it moved to the north, and then pretty much the same thing's happening here. So maybe a glancing blow, Russellville and Florence late tomorrow evening. So I've seen some of you comment, if your mud is drying out, don't worry. We've got more rain coming in. Friday morning starts off dry, but notice a little bit earlier, probably 11:45, we start to get thunderstorms developing. These are going to be those isolated ones, very heavy rainfall. Notice we're going to see more of them. So that's what I meant by a handful tomorrow and then double handful as we get into Friday afternoon. And then Friday night, we're still seeing it, still showing up. I think we're going to see another round, one final round, and as we get into the evening of these showers and thunderstorms, probably looking at gusty winds and heavy rain with this. So this may be kind of an hour-and-a-half delay to your Friday evening plans. And notice that time there was 8 o'clock. So here's your 3-day forecast. Hot and steamy. Temperatures fall back into the mid-80s because we're going to get more thunderstorm activity Friday and Saturday, and then low 70s out there. Oh, thank you for Happy Father's Day, Janice. I'll be adding more of your comments here. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back. 1 minute, and then we'll be talking about your weekend forecast and the next 10 days. All right, sounds like we got a party going in the newsroom out there. I'm sure they're all discussing what's coming up on 48 News at 10. Someone says, Kevin says, you have spent a fortune on that garage. Actually, I've saved about $150,000 doing it myself. So that's why I've tackled the whole thing. But sometimes you get a wormhole, like when I was working on the Mustang, you can get into those rabbit holes, those wormholes. You chase them down and you get one problem after another. I'm sure some of you experienced that. Let's see. What do I like about the weather and summertime? I like the fact that we don't have a lot of severe weather, tornado weather in the summertime. We have gotten to where we get some really heavy rainfall and those strong gusty winds. Is the weather going to be really bad? No. Weather's not going to be really, this is going to be typical Alabama summertime thunderstorm weather. Again, I can't rule out a severe wind gust as these storms collapse. Can't rule that out. But again, I think we're in such a time where everybody wants to know exactly what's going to happen, how strong something's going to be, and we just don't know. I can tell you, I don't think we'll see a tornado threat at all this weekend. And I know that's been a little surprising with some of the risks we've had lately, but with the setup, there's no wind shear here. And again, I think there's so much anxiety, especially what's happened in May and June, that y'all need to relax. So find a way to relax. I think a lot of people, I get a lot of questions from people, and I see the very same questions on the other meteorologists in town's pages. I see the same question from particular people on the Weather Service. So I think you're hunting for some answer that's going to tell you we're not going to have any violent weather, and there's never any guarantee with the weather. I mean, you could be in a car crash in a heavy rain event. I mean, there's so many outside variables that a lot of people worry about so much that you really need to just go about your daily business. If it's a really big risk for severe weather, we're going to let you know, and we're going to let you know these are days you need to prepare for. But some of these, there's just some events that happen, like a microburst, things like that. There's just no way to prepare for some of those things. So prepare for the unexpected. Get a weather radio, especially if you live in a mobile home. You've got to have a weather radio. You've got to have a way to know. You've got to get out of your mobile home when we get winds over 75 miles per hour, because that's when these trees start to fall, and that's your biggest threat. It's not the tornado lifting your mobile home, it is the tree falling and crushing your mobile home. And one of the other things I've seen a lot of lately is the fact that we've got a lot of these trees that have fallen. And some of these trees have fallen and they just look rotten at the very base of the tree. And I think that may be this series of us having so much rain and then no rain. We go into these flash droughts. So I think it's causing some harm to the vegetation of the trees in particular. So again, just keep that in mind. If there's a need to panic, we'll let you know. But again, these are summertime storms. Your number one fear should be lightning, especially if you're out camping, you're on a boat, things like that. So stay weather aware. and know your surroundings when we get thunderstorms. And we get big thunderstorms here in the southeast. Every day could probably be a marginal risk for severe weather in the southeast. That has not changed. So as we take a look at the rain chances, you can see they kind of peak on Father's Day. And those peaking on Father's Day, again, not the best weather for barbecue maybe with Dad or out on the lake. However, it's not a perfect science. So there are going to be some breaks out there. And we're going to know more about the Saturday, Sunday time frame coming up tomorrow as the high resolution models get in closer range of that. So 88 tomorrow, isolated thunderstorms. Starting off isolated Friday. Again, most of the morning hours will be dry every day into the weekend. Once we reach the peak heating, once we hit those mid-80s, that's when the atmosphere starts turning. You get the towering cumulus clouds, and then you get the thunderstorms. The atmosphere in the summer is taller. There's more room for the storms to develop. That's why they're stronger. In the wintertime, the atmosphere is actually shorter. I don't know if you guys knew that, but that's kind of what we look at. So the shorter the atmosphere, it's thicker, we want to say, in the summer. The thinner the atmosphere in the winter, the colder it gets. So that's how we kind of measure how hot and cold it's going to be, by the thickness of the atmosphere. So as we go on into next week, don't let that get you down. It's a chance for showers and storms. Chances are that may be isolated in nature, kind of like what we're getting Friday. Again, 9:30, we do this every night before our 10 o'clock newscast. And speaking of which, I got to get ready for that, and I do appreciate you guys taking the time to check in, and thank you for all the Father's Day, happy Father's Day for me. I'll be working Sunday. So again, not much going on this weekend at the Travis house. See you guys later.